Throughout this entire tournament, Zergs have struggled, and amazingly here in the semifinals, Life leads 2-0 on match point, could close the series out in this next match on Akalon Wastes.
And you would give us that ZVT final. I mean, a lot of people were talking about Terran, they were talking about Protoss. People were missing out on the Zerg, and Life is, he's breathing new life into it. There it
MC
is.
on the
Worst
other
part of the
hand,
day.
MC has not really gotten to show his full flair. Life is just a little bit too aggressive. Guys, before we hop into this match, I want to give an extra special shout out to iBuyPower, one of the sponsors of this event. In fact, at our very casting desk, I want you to know that this computer that's right to Jeff's left, you can actually win the whole computer, not just the case. It is the computer itself. Go to the iBuyPower booth or go to ibuypower.com/MLG and you get the signed Revolt system, their brand new PC line. And with that in mind, Jeff,
let's do it. Should I hit it? Let me see. See if they're ready to go.
Looks like Life and MC just confirming that they are in fact ready. And then it's going to be on Akalon Waste, a difficult map, a technical map. How are you going to approach this as a Protoss player down 0-2?
Well, I mean, this is a good map for you because you can actually safely secure 4 bases in your corner of the map. And if you as a Protoss can do that, we might have to remake here, but just going on my analysis, that's where you're going to be able to get that super army that everyone talks about. I really do think the late game Protoss army, or Skytoss, as a lot of people refer to it, which is just Void Ray Templar with some mixture of either Colossus or Tempest in there.
Yeah.
It's really strong. It's something that the Zerg cannot deal with cost effectively. There's nobody out there that's like, oh, that army? I do this, and then it's no problem. It's really hard to deal.
But you know, I like the word you used, cost effectively.
Yeah.
So often, especially when considering a lot of the Wings of Liberty strategies, it was about having the right composition. It was about an engagement or two to decide the entire game. But here in Heart of the Swarm, if you look at Life's games, he is not playing cost efficiently. His units lost is often 1.5 or 2 times more than the opponent. However, he's throwing away fast units and securing more expansions. He's playing in the true Zerg style, which is mass amounts of units to overrun. So efficiency is not the big goal in Heart of the Swarm.
Well, you know, the other cool thing, too, and it's something worth mentioning, because I really saw this with Leenock earlier on. Actually, can you type in what is that?
Oh, yeah, I'll take care of that. Go ahead.
Anyways, to finish out my thought, I feel like a lot of the Zergs have a tough time being that fast and aggressive, but then also keeping up with things like injects and creep spread. I know this has been talked about for years, but really in this day and age, we're starting to see players like a Leenock, like a Life, not skip a beat. They have units where other players that are very good simply don't, because they don't have the mechanics to keep up with that while being fast and aggressive, while making those cutting-edge choices like dropping his Spire, mid-aggression, taking away from the units that he's using, knowing that the transition's where he actually finds his victory.
And there's so many little opportunities to eke out those edges, no matter what position you're in. It's not just following a rote build order. It's a perfectly planted time warp that slows down just enough Zerg units for your Stalkers to pick off. It's that incredible Phoenix control to nab off an Overlord, pick off a free drone here and there. And we've seen MC able to do this against Terran, but here against Life, he has to step up. He has to be more defensively minded early to get to those 4 bases you talked about earlier.
And we are underway. Ladies and gentlemen, SKMC faces elimination. He needs your cheers, or is it Life you're cheering for? Either way, give a big shout right now. Sweet.
Once again, Akalon Wastes is the map. 4 bases can be easily held by Protoss, but as we're seeing, Life makes nothing easy. Up in the top left-hand corner, zing-a-ring-a-roo.
I appreciate that.
Life pulled a comeback victory against Pult, pulled a comeback victory against Last, and now he maintains the lead. Can he close it out here from Startail? It is Life.
And his opponents needing to mount a comeback for the ages. It is the Blue Protoss, SKMC. So we talked about that late game PvZ, getting to those Void Rays, getting to those Templar, and achieving that success. But I'll tell you what, Life doesn't know what minute 13 or 14 looks like in a ZVP at Heart of the Swarm, because he's been murdering people in the early game, and then the mid game's just been kind of a semantic where he politely asks you to leave.
You know, I do like the point you were bringing up. In the first game we watched, that Life, by going for this very early gas geyser, incidentally gets about the typically timed layer,
Yeah.
but the Zergling speed finishes at 730. That allows you to hold off any sort of warp gate rush by using the speedlings to pick off the pylon and probe that's building by your base. And then the Hydras come in and deal with everything else. You have an Immortal Sentry all in, you're coming in with air units, no problem. I have speed Hydras that will soon have range. I can defend and then attack right after that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I got to give a big, I don't know, give some credit to Life's Lings, because there's a lot of Zerg out there that live by the credo that if you're stuck on just Ling and you face like +1 Zealot gateway timings, you're just dead. There's no way you make it out of that. Those same people would also tell you that if you faced a bunch of Hellions with just Zerglings, you're probably dead as well. Well, if you've been watching Life this weekend, he's finding those pylons. He's trimming down those units before they amass that critical number, and he's actually chasing Hellions back into their lair because he's just so good with his Lings in every way, shape, and form.
You know, for any of you who did not see Life versus Last, Life, twice in a row, defended 14 Blue Flame Hellions with just 26 Zerglings. Yeah. That's stupid. I don't know how that's humanly possible, but it was not with one single broadside. It was with consistent moving forward, pulling back, dodging most of the Blue Flame, and stepping in. The control of Life at a micro level is astounding.
I am thankful that he's doing that, though, because for the next 2 weeks, there's going to be a lot of Zergs making just Lings against gateway timings. We Protoss players on the ladder do appreciate that. So that'll be. Then they'll go back to being like, that's stupid. I don't know what's going on here. But we do have that wall in from MC. Wow. You'll notice, again, he went Forge before Nexus. Again, playing it safe as he will. This wall in is not a complete wall in. You'll notice that that cannon's a little bit more forward. Having a complete wall in is obviously something that is really important when facing that cheese, but otherwise, it's not that big of a deal. However, there are Zergs like July Zerg in the past who capitalize on seeing a wall in like this.
You know, as a Protoss player, Jeff, I want to ask you, we saw MC play cautiously, go for Forge first.
Yeah.
But then he went for Cannon before the gateway. That's going to delay the gateway timing a lot. Is this the sort of play you don't want to do, or are you feeling a little comfortable in this spot and you think, well, I don't really need a rush for the gateway? Walk me through MC's early opening mindset.
Sure. I mean, a lot of time you'll add the gateway before Cannon on a map like Cloud Kingdom or some of these other maps where you do a wall in where a probe can fit in a single slot and block it, so that if the Lings did show up as the cannon's finishing, it's just a single pylon block or something like that. But you'll notice with this wall in, it had a little bit more of a larger hole. I don't know that that's a single pylon between the cannon and the other pylon itself. So I guess what he's thinking in this case is that he'd rather just play it much safer, knowing that he, again, can't take any risks. If just 6 Lings showed up, he'd be in a lot of trouble.
I think that's a great point. You know, I mean, with Cloud Kingdom as a map, if Zerglings come up, they have to kill the probe so the probe can build a pylon behind itself. But here, even if one pylon did block that off, Zerglings are going to run straight through before you have time to react. So there we have the double gas going down a little earlier than normal at 5:45 rather than the usual 6 minutes. This would indicate that Life wants to do something like Zergling speed before getting a little over-eager with the layer. And a Robo from MC, it looks like he's decided that he wants to go standard.
Yeah, he's going to skip the Stargate this time around, and I'd like to see where he goes with this, because so far we've seen Ling, Hydralisk from our Zerg player, but we've also seen in a series prior, again, with Minigun, we saw that Roach stage where he just piled it on like Stefano from days or years past. I do want to note here, too, that this map version of Acheron Waste features the 2 towers in the middle of the map. That means that central control is super, super important here. If the Zergling is able to just grab that tower and sit there calmly, as we saw MC did dislodge 1 Ling, then that means he can confidently drone up without worrying about having 30 Lings out there looking for pylons. And the reason I bring this up is because one of the ways you just grab that as a Protoss is you sit a mothership core over the top of that, and there's nothing a Zergling can do about it. It doesn't have the tower, but he's not doing that. There's no mothership core.
You know, on that same, I think that's the most important bit of information that Life is getting. Mothership cores so good on this map, so critical for controlling the watchtower, that Protoss is 95% of the time go straight for it. So right now, Life's going, what's going on? MC's poking in. He sees that MC has the Stalker there to push back, and now Life's getting active with his Zerglings. He's trying to say, are you trying to expand on me? Are you trying to tech on me? MC is doing one of the most old school plays ever. Fast Colossus. This is a style of play the most commonly you do versus Terran.
Yeah, this is like 7-minute, 30-second the robotics bay went down. It's going to complete. He hasn't even added his additional gateways. Now, I want you to look at that production tab. We see 10 roaches coming out. Those are not defensive roaches. That's the beginning of Hatch Tech Ling Roach. He's going to go for it. He wants to go up this big ramp and try to exploit that wall, and we were actually talking about this cannon is a soft cannon. So Is the Colossus going to be enough? Maybe, but what I'm really concerned about is there's not a lot of gateway production. He only has the 3 sentries.
I mean, here's the thing. MC is banking on Life trying to react somewhere incorrectly. Life's going up the ramp. He's even seeing no upgrades until right now. So Life's definitely thinking, you're either attacking me or you're doing some cute tech. So Life is going to try to punish it. Nothing but Zerglings in production right now. 40 out, 20 more en route, but the Colossus is going to pop out seconds in time. Zerglings immediately assault that, and it's all going to be up to Mr. Colossus to hold off everything.
He's got his work cut out for him. He's got MC's entire life in this tournament on its shoulders. There's just so much stuff here. The force fields have gone down, but they're starting to slow down. He's running out of force fields. The hole has been cracked. A leak has been sprung. Here comes Life. He wants that grand final. He's going to barge in through here. Mama Ship Core comes out. Second Colossus only at 40%. There's roaches inside the Protoss base.
All the gateways finished up, but it's a supply block for MC. He's warping in some Desperation Zealots to get in front of this incoming Zerg swarm. Is the micro of MC enough? He's controlling reasonably well. More Zerglings in production from Life. MC's going to have to pull back, but what is Life targeting?
Oh, there's just one pylon powering that robo. It does get out. 2 Colossus are out here now. The probes are going down, but they're going down because they have to. There's nothing else to be done. Lings run by and smartly target the probes. The lifeblood of MC is being bled out. He's at 49 supply and plummeting versus the 93 supply Zerg, and Life is leaning. There are drones coming out, however. He's macroing behind this, but I don't know. I mean, he's actually got so many units in here. 2 Colossus are overworked.
An extremely unusual timing push from Life versus an old school Colossus all-in style from MC. 27 probes versus 60 drones. And more roaches and lings on the way. MC stayed alive, but I think Life is in a clear lead.
I think the second Life decides he's going to save up the gas and throw down a Spire, there is virtually nothing that MC can do. At this point in time, as a Protoss player, what you do is you say, okay, I'm on my last leg here. The only thing I can hope for is to warp in as many units as I can and go for a 2 Colossus push right this second. If I can get some weird force field surround, like if Life was doing this weird trapeze act out there, so like all his Zerglings and roaches were like on each other's shoulders, that'd be awesome, but it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, in this position, MC's basically trying to get up to around 44 workers and then just quit.
Yeah.
No more pro production, just going to hang out. Might go for an expand in this position, saying, well, you're not going to be able to kill me with any sort of tech play, so let me just try to expand. Yes, indeed, there's the Twilight Council going down, but you know what, Jeff?
Yeah.
+1 did not finish.
He's even behind in upgrades. I mean, the news just kind of keeps getting worse. He's got these sentries. I think it's kind of smart that he's not investing in like too many sentries. I mean, I said I think he has to move out and attack. He's saying, nope, I'm going to turtle up and try to survive. He's literally at half supply, 75, now 81 versus 153. The Spire's about to complete. The money of our Zerg player here is not frozen in a way that looks like he wants to go ahead and throw out 10 Mutalisks. It might just be Corruptors to cancel out the Colossus.
Yeah, I mean, Life likes being aggressive and is not going to give up anytime soon. More pylons going down for MC. There's the Forge finally planting, but Twilight Council's got to hurry up and get that blink going because 9 Mutalisks are on the way.
I was wrong. It is going to be Mutalisks, and that's such a smart transition. They now have the faster movement. They also regenerate health, so unless you're killing the Mutalisks, they will just flutter away at red health and come back full green, ready to go. And that means lots and lots of trouble for MC. He's just turtling up, hoping to endure another storm of units on the ground, but it's not going to be that. It's the fluttering Mutalisks.
Right now, third base under fire. Natural expansion about to have a huge swell of units popping on up, and this is going to be a multi-pronged attack by Life. He's going to try to open things up.
He actually went after the rocks for 1 second there. Photon overcharge does mean that there's a little bit of additional help here. Life, he's got to be careful. If he does get force fielded in there, it could be in a lot of trouble, but the Mutalisk is about to approach. They're swinging around. They're going to enter the main. We might see that instant GG we saw in game number 1 as MC has been outmaneuvered. He is not ready for this. There's nothing he can do. Life moves in at the perfect time. MC begins to lose those probes. When will he notice? He notices now. Yeah. MC's not giving up hope yet. His blink is about halfway done. He can't give up. This is his last game. If he wants to stay in this tournament, he's got to pull out a miracle. Photon overcharge going to go ahead and hit a few of those Mutalisks, but the third base is going to get canceled out, or at least it's under attack. These sentries trying to do what they can. Roach is peeling up their good force fields, are holding off the majority of pulling back the sentries. MC's doing a pretty good job defending this. And in the background, his Stalkers are holding off the Mutas.
This is a stunning defense from MC, but he's still at 86 supply. At 35 workers versus the 81 drones of Life. Amazing force fields. Absolutely pristine force fielding, but MC still needs to deal with this Mutalisk's threat. It's a full transition to Ling Muta for Life.
And we saw this out of Life in that last match. He's ignoring the Stalkers and instead going after the Harvesters, knowing that if he can continue to keep MC pinned down, he is not a threat. Some Roaches bleeding into these Colossus here. A small victory for MC, but at this point, I'm going to say it.
MC's in bad shape. 19 Mutalisks versus 22 Stalkers. Life's decided that now's a good opportunity to engage. This is not correct. Yeah. Loses a number of those Mutalisks, but the instant MC moves out too far.
Should be a counterattack.
Insta counterattack. And Zerglings even swinging into the third.
Yeah, and this is just too much. The Mutalisks and the Zerglings are going to go in there. There is that Mothership Core. It's going to go ahead and do the Photon Overcharge, but at this point, he can actually just almost target the Nexus, and there's nothing else to be done. MC's going to move across the map. He does have Blink. He has the 4 Sentries and the 2 Colossus, but unfortunately for him, it's a numbers game. I feel like the Ling Muta is just going to ravage his base back at home, and if they want to do elimination, the Mutalisk will just be more effective.
Astounding aggression from Life start to finish, and it looks like MC may barely defend his Nexus yet.
All the
Blink
probes
Stalker
gone.
Colossus, every single probe on the map, almost all dead. 3 remain. The natural expansion Nexus, by a miracle, manages to stay alive. MC is all in on this final army.
There are no probes out on the map. There are no buildings out on the map. You can see the Lings run right past the hazard zone where the Protoss is destroying an undefended base. And there's the probes. They're trying to make it out, but they get ran down by the Lings. This is a true elimination race, but unfortunately for MC, he has no ability to build a Nexus or a pylon or gas or anything to draw him out of that base.
This is doom right now for MC. 18 Stalkers will have to best 29 Mutalisks. 4 more Stalkers being warped in. MC spending every last ounce of cash that he has to get a few extra units onto this field. And what is Life doing? Just transferring every which way. I mean, unless a misclick miracle occurs, MC is looking to be in terrible shape. 71 Zerglings. Look in the main base.
Yeah.
Life has made the wall of spines. He wants to make certain that his main base is permanently protected. And a good game!
That's it.
A crushing 3-0 victory for StarTale Life. But you know what this means, Jeff? A rematch of the epic Flash versus Life semi-final from last MLG.
And what a great final that was, too. Like you talked about, Life coming back to beat Flash. But this is a new Flash, and this is a new Life. It's Heart of the Swarm, and a lot of people are saying, I don't know about ZVT in Heart of the Swarm, but Life, he seems to know about it. He had an amazing series with Last.
I mean, absolute perfection from Life in those games. Did not even exploit a lot of the new Heart of the Swarm units. Yeah. Just phenomenal attack timings, playing amazingly start to finish. And you know what? MC, even though he's a huge fan favorite, and a lot of people were cheering him on, he still has 1 more match to go. The 3rd, 4th place match is up right after this.
Yes, and I will be casting alongside Total Biscuit, so don't go anywhere. It's going to be a great match, and then after that, the grand final. I believe that's yourself and DJ Weed, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Indeedy do. I honestly cannot wait. Guys, stay tuned when we come back. We're going to have an interview with our winner, and of course, the 3rd, 4th place match.